how can you be more decisive and confident when it comes to making big decisions? We're sharing 3 tips you can't afford to miss. Welcome to our channel. My name is Vanessa, and today we're getting into decision making. Now, one of the big important factors when it comes to making strong decisions is, of course, intuition. And we talked about intuition in a recent video where I shared the 3 things you need to immediately do to help raise your intuition. So if you've missed that or you need a refresher, be sure to watch that video after this one. For this video, we're diving deeper into decision making, and I'm sharing 3 tips to help you make strong decisions and be confident when you make them. Tip number 1 is you need to know the difference between a choice and a decision. When you make a choice, it's more like sampling something. It's more like trying something out. You're testing it out. You're not really all in. You're just dipping your toe in the waters. Now, when you make a decision, it's more definitive. It's you being all in. When you look at the etymology of the word decide, it literally means to cut off all other options. So the first tip when it comes to being confident with your decisions is when you make a decision, be all in. Move like someone who is completely committed to the decision they've made. Don't make the mistake of simply dipping your toe in the water. Be all in. Tip number 2, when it comes to being decisive and more confident in your decisions, is to know what the ROI is. ROI simply means the return on your investment. And most people apply the term ROI to finances. But I want you to think bigger than that. When you're considering a decision you need to make, let's say you're presented with an opportunity to work with someone or collaborate with a company, but you're not totally sure if you can be all in. You're gonna consider your ROI on the big picture scale. So we're talking about considering your mental investment, your spiritual investment, your emotional investment, and even the physical investment. So consider what this project is gonna require you to put into it and what it is you're gonna get in return. So for example, I was presented with an opportunity to collaborate with a company who had great values and was mostly aligned with my values. And yet there was this one issue we couldn't totally agree on. And so I had to sit down and ask myself, would the return on the investment really be worth it for me? And on a spiritual level, because of that one thing not being aligned, I turned down the opportunity. But I knew that it was the right decision for me because the return on the investment spiritually just wasn't there for me with this opportunity. That's what I want you to think about when it comes to the return on your investment, mentally, physically, spiritually, and emotionally. So using that tool, decide if this is really the right opportunity for you. Which brings us to tip number 3. Let's say it's one of those decisions that will change the trajectory of the rest of your life. And you're not quite sure if you're ready to be all in. You're not quite sure if the ROI is really there. What you can do is to give yourself a deadline to decide by. Give yourself more time. Maybe it's 30 days. Maybe it's 3 days. But you decide on a deadline to make that decision by. And in the meantime, while that decision deadline is approaching, what you're going to be doing is gathering as much information that relates to that decision. So when the time comes for you to decide, you've got all the information you need to make that decision from the most informed place possible. Now combine that with your intuition and what you're already sensing, and now you've got the key to making strong and confident decisions no matter what you're facing. Here's my challenge to you moving forward, if you decide to accept it. And that is to take a decision that you've been putting off for some time now. Maybe it's a big one, maybe it's a small one. It doesn't matter. It's a decision you know you need to make. Give yourself a deadline to make that decision by. You can set an alarm on your phone, you can set an alarm on your calendar. In the meantime, you're going to gather as much information as you need to make the most informed decision possible. And when that alarm goes off for you, it's time to decide. When you make that decision, be all in. That's my challenge to you. Did you enjoy this video? Did you get any insight out of it whatsoever? Then be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel to get more videos like this to help you make your purpose your reality.